Welcome to this class on Excel. This is my first video, so I would want you all to assess the video and tell me what I can do to improve the video. But for today, I would want us to look at another alternative to a pivot table. Another alternative to a pivot table. I believe most of us are familiar with a pivot table. But for today, I want us to look at an alternative to a pivot table. We all know that if you use a pivot table, you cannot make any adjustment to the table unless you refresh. And so if this is the data, and then you make a pivot table out of this, you make a pivot table out of this. If you make a pivot table out of this, and then along the line, something changes. So let's say this becomes 16,000. Now, this change would not affect the pivot table unless you refresh. Okay. However, there is a new Excel formula called the GroupBy, which works just like a pivot table. And then with this one, if you change any number in the source code, it changes automatically. And so if you make a GroupBy of this based on the region, and then along the line, we change any value in the salary column, the GroupBy will automatically change. Unlike the pivot table where you would have to refresh. Okay, so now let's look at the argument for the GroupBy. I think it is important that if you want to be very good with Excel, you need to understand the argument used. You need to understand the argument of the function, of the formula. Now, if you say equal to GroupBy, now the first argument is row fields. The first argument is row fields. So the row fields is this one, is the region side. Okay, it is what you want to group by. And so in this scenario, we want to group the salaries by the region. We want to know what every region gets. So that is the row fields. Now, when we come to the values is the numbers you want to group. And so for here, the values is the salary column. The values is the salary column. Now the function is, so now let's do this so that you can all understand. I think we need to start so that you can all understand it better. So equal to group by. So the row fields is this column. So you stand here, Control Shift down, comma. So the values, the argument values is the salary. So you stand here, Control Shift down. Go. Now you go to the function. So this tells you what you want to group. Do you want to find the sum of the group, or the percentage of, or the average, or the median? So this is it. And so assuming we want to find the sum, so that is it. So we double click, comma. So the field headers. So it is always proper to choose no, which is 0. Now, they are asking you, after grouping, would you want to find the grand total? So if you want to find the grand total, then you select 1. But if you don't want to find the grand total, you can just select 0. But this one, we want to find the grand total. Okay, so we just choose 1. Now we come to the sort order. So the sort order is 1 or -1. So if you choose 1, it means you are ascending. You are arranging the groupings in ascending order. If you choose -1, that is the opposite. You are arranging in descending order. Okay? So with this, we will choose 1. We want to arrange it in ascending order. Now, this is the filter array. Now, the filter array, just in case you don't want to see a specific region. Okay, you don't want to see a specific region. Maybe you want to group, but you want only maybe Eastern, Central, and Western. You don't want voter. So you can say the row column is not equal to voter. So with this one, when Excel is grouping, they will group and leave voter out of it. Okay. But with this one, we don't want to filter. So we just want to stay here. So when you are done, you just click on enter. Okay. Good. So now this is it. So we have grouped our salaries by region. Now, if we make any changes here, any changes here, any changes here, it will automatically affect this side. If we make any changes here, it will automatically affect this side. So let's say we make the voter 20,000. Here, we make here 20,000. Let's see the change. So you can see that there is a change here when we change something here. This is unlike the pivot table. With the pivot table, if you make any changes here, it would not affect the pivot table unless you go back to the pivot table and refresh. And so this is a better way of grouping. This is mostly used than the pivot table now because of the issue of the groupings and the automatic changes. Okay? Thank you.